So here's the deal about circles. If I have a circle right here, and let's give it a radius of 4. This is not going to be perfectly drawn, FYI. Really, the only bad side I have is this one down here. Oh well. Okay, so if I'm going to use this point right here. Okay, and it's definitely not perfect, no. So this is the point 3, 3, right? I can draw in this as a right triangle. Can you see that? And what's the length of each of these sides? One, two, three, and 3. Okay, so this is my radius, and I want to know how long my radius is. Pythagorean theorem, that's right. So I have 3 squared plus 3 squared, and that's going to equal my radius squared, right? Okay, so we have 9 plus 9, and we take the square root of 18, and we find that r equals a little bit more than 4, right? Okay, so now I'm going to make this a little more abstract now. Is that all right? I'm going to change these. So instead of using 3 and 3, I'm going to use x and y, okay? Because we know that's an x amount and a y amount. So we know that x squared plus y squared is always going to give me my radius squared. Because is your radius ever going to change as it goes around that circle? Nope, it's going to be the same, always. Okay, and this is the first part of the idea of the equation of a circle. Okay? You can also see it the other way, like if you take the square root and you get rid of the square. This is the form that I am used to looking at personally with the square root. And this is the basic idea. No, no. Okay, so now I'm going to add on to this idea. I'm going to use this point as the center of my circle. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. This is going to be a coordinate, just a random coordinate. I know it's really abstract, but stay with me. And this is my center point. And I'm going to use H and K. And this is going to be my radius. Okay, so I'm going to draw in those lines. So we still have a right triangle, right? So now, let's say I don't have any grid paper and you can't just count boxes. How could I find the length of this segment right here that's horizontal? Which coordinates deal with horizontal movement? Does the x or y coordinate deal with horizontal movement? Y deals with horizontal movement? X deals with horizontal movement. Okay, so for this length right here, for that length, I can subtract my x's. So that length is going to be x minus h. The x coordinate for this center point. Okay, so now for this length right here, how could I find those lengths? It deals with vertical movement, right? So we'd have to deal with our y coordinates, and what would we subtract? I have no idea. This is where I got lost. See the y's? Y and k? If I subtract those, I'll get this length. Wouldn't it be 2? I said if we were not counting the boxes. Okay, so I'm going to make this right triangle larger over here. Our x coordinates, this length will be x minus h, and this length will be y minus k. And we still have our radius. Yeah, so we plug it into the Pythagorean theorem. So we have x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals our radius squared. All right, so there's either this version or we could take a square root of both sides so that we just have this as r. And so I'd have the square root over all of that. And what formula does this look like? if you look at the distance formula, these are really, really similar because they both come from the Pythagorean theorem. Okay? All right, so here's what you have to respond, or here's what you have to recognize. R stands for your radius, right? And the point HK is the center of the circle. HK is the center of the circle. And those would just be numbers. All right, so now, let's say I give us an example. Let's say I want a circle with a radius of 4 with a center at 1, 2. So how would I express that in the formula, in the equation? It won't be 1, 2 squared. It'll be x minus 1 squared.
Why?
What's that?
Why?
Because we just put h in here. We literally just plug 1 in there. So x minus 1 squared and y minus 2. Okay, so now what's this going to be equal to? Which is 4. So now if I draw this, and we can, I'm not going to be low enough on that. Hey, Brienne, we open that door. Okay, so I draw my center in as 1, 2. And then my radius has to go 4 points away, right? So I know horizontally it's really easy to find. I go over 4 points. I'd have to go down 4 points. To the left 4 points. And up 4 points. And I just draw it in.
So what am I, graphing?
These circles.
I know, but what points am I putting on the graph?
Well, we started with the center, which is 1, 2. And then I just went 4 units to the right, to the left, up, and down. Okay, so now let's say I have a radius of 3 and I want my center at -2, -1. How do I write the equation?
X would be +2.
Yep, because the sign changes because there's 2 negatives, x plus 2.
And then y plus 3.
Plus The radius is 3. The center is -2, -1. So it'd be y plus 1. And this will equal our radius, which is 3. Okay, so now if I graph this, I draw in my center first, so that's -2, -1. And then I use my center. Brienne, will you get that?
Huh?
Will you get the door? And I have to draw in my radius, so that's 3 units in each direction. So 3 units over, up, to the left, and down. And I simply draw in the arcs.
Are they supposed to be square rooting it? We did Alex's this morning and we didn't square root it. We left it as a square.
Oh, so you just said equals 9?
Yeah, and then
That's
you
fine.
put like 3 squared in parentheses behind it so you could see the arc.
Oh, that's perfect.
Okay.
This is just the form that I'm used to, so that's what I use.
Wait, so what's my mid? Am I supposed to just do +3 for my radius?
Mm-hmm.